Hello everybody, this is Dr. Willow Ariella, and this video is a brief overview about the introduction to human development and chapter 1. In this chapter, some important concepts are reviewed, and I wanted to highlight a few of them. I believe this chapter is really the most important chapter, and because the first week of the semester can be a little bit hectic, it's why I leave the first chapter to the second week. So by then, hopefully, things have calmed down and you can focus more on the scientific method. The scientific method is really the foundation of this course, as well as most other courses that you take. Because most courses that you take in college are based on science and research and data and evidence. The scientific method is a proven method to collect data in order to test hypotheses and help develop theories, and that's something that we reviewed in the video for chapter 2. And there are some important concepts that are discussed. The experimental and correlational methods are widely used in the scientific method and research on humans and human development and human behavior. The experimental method, the classic experimental method, requires that you have both a study group, an experimental group, as well as a control group, and ideally the variables that you're testing are blinded so that the participants as well as the researchers or the assistants don't know what dependent variable is being tested with which group. Correlational method. That method helps, the experimental method is designed to try to prove that something causes something else, although really this is very difficult. It's very difficult to rule out all the possible variables to say that X and only X causes Y. So when you're reading scientific reports or scientific studies, please keep this in mind. Sometimes in the media, the newspapers or something will say that, you know, heart disease is caused by whatever. Just keep in mind that it's very difficult to prove that one thing causes one other thing. There are almost always other variables that are possible to be in the mix. The correlational method is designed to test relationships between one thing and another. So for example, you might want to test how much study time, time a college student studies affects grades. So a hypothesis could be the more a student studies, the higher their grades are. And the research question could be, does increased study time lead to increased grades? So the correlational method does not prove or try to prove that something causes something, merely that something correlates to something else. And then some really important studies have looked at age and cohort, especially longitudinal age and cohort studies. Longitudinal studies are designed to look at a group of people called a cohort, and a cohort is usually a set of people who were born during a certain time frame, like baby boomers are called a cohort. Longitudinal studies are really important in human development and developing data and theories on human development, because that allows us to look at how people develop from an early age up until they're older. And this varies depending on who's doing the research and what age they are when they start this research. And some researchers devote their entire careers, 50, 60 years doing longitudinal studies, but they provide a lot of information for human developmentalists and psychologists, and as well as in other fields, on how humans develop and some of the factors or variables that influence that development. So the research assignment that you have, the research concepts assignment, focuses heavily on chapter 1. And so when you are reviewing the terms for that assignment, You definitely want to use Chapter 1 to help answer the questions, and then the independent and dependent variable section of the assignment asks you to determine in the research questions that are asked which a variable, and a variable is merely something that varies. So you're asked to look at which concept or variable is the independent and which one is the dependent. And keep in mind that when you are doing this assignment, that the dependent variable depends on, is affected by, the independent variable. The dependent variable is the thing that we are measuring in a scientific study. So as you're reviewing your assignment, research concepts assignment, keep that in mind when you're doing the last part. So hopefully you found this video on the scientific method and some of the concepts that are used in conducting research to be helpful. And if you have any questions, please post them in the student questions area. I look forward to reading your postings and your research concepts assignment. Thank you for your time and attention. Bye-bye.